Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about the Breitling Navitimer 1, not to be confused with the Navitimer 01, but we'll get into all the specifics in just a moment. Welcome back. Like I said, today our topic of discussion is going to be the Breitling Navitimer 1. Now this is a current production model, so you can find all the details about it directly on the Breitling website. But of course, if you come to SwissWatchExpo, you can get it at a discount. Now this is a mid-size version, as Breitling calls it, a mid-size version of the Navitimer. Both of these watches, and you can also get it with a blue dial, they come in a 41mm size. Now, the traditional or standard Navitimer is slightly larger than that. I personally find mid-size to be appropriate within the Navitimer collection, but from watches in general, I do find mid-size watches to be smaller, and at a 41mm size, I don't know if I would fully commit to the idea that this is a mid-size watch, but again, it's all relatively speaking, and relative to the full-size Navitimer, this watch does come in mid-size. Now, I said we were going to discuss the differences between the Navitimer 1 and the Navitimer 01. And the biggest difference is going to be in the movement. Now, of course, if you're familiar with like the iconic traditional Navitimer, you'll know that it comes with a chronograph movement, right? A stop-start function, the reset, and it's going to have subdials that are located on the dial. Now, Breitling, for their Navitimer 01, they actually make that movement in-house. It is an entirely, Breitling made movement. It's something they're very proud of, and it's actually become one of a handful of in-house movements that Breitling produces. Now, this movement is actually based on an ETA. It's an ETA-based movement. And of course, it's slightly different, right? Obviously, there's no chronograph registers or subdials. This watch is going to be time and date only. You'll notice that there is a date aperture down at the 6 o'clock position. Now, this movement itself does beat at 28,800, so it's a very quickly operating movement. But if you actually slow it down, like if you take a freeze frame and just kind of do slow motion, or if you look really closely, you'll notice that it moves very efficiently. It's not a completely like smooth sweep, but you will notice that there are actually going to be 8 independent little, I don't want to say ticks, but movements in between each second. So if you look closely, you can actually, measure things down to a fraction of a second. So it's a very accurate movement machine built by Breitling. Of course, they do adjust the ETA movement and add, they'll replace some parts with some premium upgrades to the movement. And then they actually take the movement and they certify it by a COSC. So this is going to be a COSC certified movement. And of course, with that, you're going to have those timekeeping, accuracy, the -4 and +6. Of course, this watch is an automatic movement, so it's going to have an automatic rotor inside it. But the way that this one works is really cool. It's a really smooth feel. It's something that, a lot of times you'll hold a watch and you're not supposed to wind it by shaking it. But if you kind of like swivel the watch around, you can feel that rotor moving. Not really in this one. I mean, you can tell it's in there, but you don't feel the weight kind of sloshing around, pulling your hand with it. And when you put it up to your ear, you can very faintly hear a sound, but for the most part, this is a very silent movement. Now, of course, one more thing about that automatic rotor, it is bidirectionally winding. So a lot of watches, the rotor has to spin in a certain direction for it to, increase the power reserve. For this watch, no matter which way that rotor is pivoting, it's going to be adding power to the mainspring. And of course, that's going to make for a more accurate and more efficient, rather, automatic module, which of course lends to having, longer power reserves, not having to wind and set your watch, as often. Now, to go back to the outside of the watch, of course, because it's part of the Navitimer, you do have access to the Navitimer bracelet. You can get them on straps with different buckle styles. But the biggest difference is going to be in the dial itself, when we're talking about looks and appearance. Again, we already discussed that it is not a chronograph. So the first thing you'll notice is that this dial looks just a lot cleaner. It's not as busy as the Navitimer 01. The removal of those subdials for the chronograph function really just kind of opened the dial up. Now, of course, you still have the iconic slide rule bezel. So you're still gonna get plenty of functionality of the watch if you wanna use it as a tool watch. But when you look down, you don't have to try to sort out what you're looking at on your wrist. It's a phenomenal piece. You can get it again. This is gonna be the silver dial. It comes in a black dial and of course the iconic blue dial that we all know and love from the Breitling Navitimer collection. And we've got a couple of these in stock here at SwissWatchExpo. So if the full size is something that's just a little bit too much of a statement piece, but you like the look and feel of the Navitimer, this mid-size Navitimer 1 is the way to go. Come check it out at SwissWatchExpo.com.